welcome to our White Towel video panel. I will remind you that we have a White Towel podcast as well. We have a Blockbuster one this week. Had the whole crew in. So make sure you download through Apple Podcasts for that. Subscribe. Love all our content here, especially the stuff these guys write. Gents, I wanted to start with the Canucks in their own end. We've made such a fuss out of the offensive capabilities of a Quinn Hughes, of Elias Pettersson, of Brock Besser. We've talked about how many games they've scored 5 goals or more, but the team is actually much higher defensively than they are offensively.
Yeah, to me, the story of their season, if I was going to rank kind of, where they have been strongest, to me, it's been their goaltending. On a night-in, night-out basis, it's going to be there, it's going to be reliable, and that's what makes me think they're going to be around for the long haul this season.
Yeah, it's a good point there about the goaltending, Ed, and the fact that I think it's any game, any time now between Thatcher Demko and Jacob Markstrom. And Jacob Markstrom, I spoke to him recently about just the evolution of the position and how they work in tandem, and the fact that he was saying that Thatcher Demko just soaks up things so quickly. Maybe it's part of his background in studying human performance or whatever, and everything Demko's been through with the concussion last year. He has grasped things that Ian Clark has been trying to teach bigger goalies quicker. Getting big goalies to play big sometimes is a problem. They want to flop down. They want to throw the chicken wing up. They don't want to seal up the short side. They always think they can recover. Thatcher Demko has taken everything that Ian Clark has taught him, and he's brought it into his game a lot quicker than Markstrom. So I think we're at a point now where, with a big road trip coming up, you could defer to either guy. They're not back-to-backs on this trip. So I think we're at a very interesting point now with the goaltending, and it's an embarrassment of riches. I mean, this is almost like Luongo-Schneider era, where you could go to either guy on any night, and that's been a big development.
And certainly the goaltending has been the key, but I mean, let's look at the acquisitions the Canucks have made. Jordie Benn and even Tyler Myers been great stories in terms of people aren't talking about how much money they're being paid. But I'd even say the forwards in their own end are doing the right thing. I mean, this is Travis Green. You can go. I do not want to bring up Nikolai Goldobin again and the idea about him not being responsible in his own end, but this really is a team defense, and that's paying off on the stat sheet, is not.
Yeah. Well, you just look at that blue line. They upgraded 3 positions. I'm going to do the math really quickly here. 3 and there's 6 defenders. They upgraded half their blue line, so it stands to reason.
50% better.
Yeah, I think so. Wow, that really was fast.
Advanced analytics, we call that.
But, I think we talked about Jordie Benn a bit in the podcast, but to me, I mean, he is the perfect 6th defenseman. If he's your 6th defenseman, you've got a pretty good blue line. The guy he just doesn't make mistakes. He takes care of his own end. He's neat. He's tidy. Not really an offensive tour de force. But they don't need him to be. So he's solidified that third pairing, Quinn Hughes and Chris Tanev. That seems like a thing. The number one pairing, I think Ben said during the podcast, to me they are overplaying Edler and Myers. They're overplaying them a bit. So that'll be curious to see how that shows up in January, in February, and March when you're really into the grind of the season.
Yeah, like Ed said, I mean, you don't notice Jordie Benn, which is a good thing. He's not Jamie Benn, he's Jordie Benn. And I can probably count on one hand where I thought maybe he's been out of position or where he's been beaten for a goal. The other big thing here about the back end is that they don't spend a lot of time in their own zone anymore, because Quinn Hughes is so good in transition to getting the puck and moving it. I've had players come up to me and say, I can't believe Pettersson comes all the way back to the top of the crease on the back check to help trigger the transition. So what we mentioned earlier about just being that good in all 3 zones, the forwards having that mentality collectively, but the pairings have been good. Again, just touching on Edler, Myers. The big thing with Myers is that he doesn't move well enough. His lateral movement isn't great. He can't defend well enough. They're making it work. And knock on wood, we know he's left a few games, but just the way that Quinn Hughes transitions the puck, Chris Tanev might actually stick around another month because he's not blocking as many shots because they're not in their zone as much.
All right, gents, thanks for that stuff. You can catch both Ben and Ed's stories at theprovince.com, vancouversun.com. Get our podcast, our videos, continue to come back to see us all season.